Yes, this is said sometimes by superficial people. And I remember somebody in America saying for a joke, Ludwig van Beethoven wrote 4 symphonies, number 3, 5, 7, and 9. So it is explicable, but it's wrong. Let's see, at the beginning he wrote a very good Mozart symphony, which had more muscle than Mozart symphonies. Number 1 is a fantastic symphony, number 2 is a step forward. But then came the game changer. Number 3 is like an asteroid or a meteor hitting Earth musically. And I think Beethoven was well aware he couldn't do that every day. He couldn't write like these symphonies. So he returned to a more humane, less heroic, but nevertheless incredibly wonderful and rich way of writing a small, so-called smaller symphony. And number 4 is just a jewel. It has, like number 2, number 1, a slow introduction, which is a little bit looking back to Haydn. He does it again in number 7, but the symphony starts in a very dark mood. I once heard a Finnish conductor said at Karajan competition, it was Okko Kahamo, he won sympathy of the orchestra as a young man when he said, this has to start like the beginning of Earth. Like very mysterious, and then breaks out the whole sunshine of B flat major friendly. It's always a friendly tonality, and it's full of a sturdy lightness, if you can say this, because Beethoven was never as leggero as Mozart was. Melody soaring on a very detailed accompaniment, pa-pum, pum, pa-pum, pum, pa-pum, pum, which sets the speed. But it's just a wonderful movement with the most dreamy, weightless clarinet soli and a beautiful horn entrance out of nowhere from 7th floor down. And at the end, a very strange thing. You have concerti with a cadenza. This is like a symphony movement with a cadenza. The orchestra stops on a discord, horn, violin, like in a cadenza, like talking to each other, and then comes the end. The third movement is typical Beethoven because of the syncopation rhythm of hymnal. But it's one pum 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 party party pum para pum pum. Same rhythm like in Schumann, and it's quite the strongest Beethoven in it. The last movement is very light-headed, brilliant, and contains the most famous fast bassoon solo before Ravel piano concerto. And it's of course a piece for every orchestra audition, as is a short clarinet piece which is rapid in double speed, that the clarinet can do. Very difficult, full of fun, full of pranks almost musically. So it's a beautiful symphony which is a little bit like breathing in for number 3 and giving room for number 4, breathing in for number 5 and giving room for number 6. Same, 7, 8. It's like a rhythm like tide, high tide and low tide, while the comparison is really misleading. There's nothing low in it. And it's a rich year. 1806 has Opus 60 and Opus 61, which is the other piece of today's program. And Opus 61 is quite a special thing. The Violin Concerto is written for somebody, for Mr. Clement, who was the director of the Theater an der Wien, which still exists, which also was later the theater where Fidelio was premiered. Mr. Clement was a very clever theater manager and director, and a very gifted player, obviously, played the concerto almost sight reading. Why? Beethoven had the score ready, but the violin part was in his head. And he wrote it down very late and reluctantly, not sure how he would manage to write a good violin concerto for violins, not being a player himself. He played a little viola in Bonn when he was a boy. Many questions. The part is written down hastily, and probably musicology has not much fun to read this. Always difficult. And the comments of the concert were the audience liked it very much, but all the informed, well-educated people, the connoisseurs, were not happy. It's too repetitive, it's not really very original, it's not so beautiful. He has written much better things like First Symphony or the wonderful septet, but this is not at his level. So the concerto had real trouble of organization to make its way, because it was not really well prepared and then was not well received. So you know that the first successful performance was when? In 1844 by 13-year-old Joseph Joachim in London, Mendelssohn conducting. This was the groundbreaking success for this concerto, that it was slowly, step by step, recognized as the greatest violin concerto. There's an enigma for me, because there's so much incredible music in it, but it has to be played very well. And it's interesting, the part seems simple, like scales and very quiet melodies. The simpler it gets, the more difficult it gets. Beethoven violin concerto has to be played flawless, yet it's real difficult. But that's only the one side. The other side is it's so poetic. It's so blessed with peaceful melodies, and with a bucolic finale, and with the most introvert second movement, which is variations or paraphrases of one theme and an incredibly simple second theme. And if this is played well, you are in heaven. Usually in a concert you have the concerto, the soloist, and then the symphony. In these two pieces, which are written not simultaneously but in very close neighborhood in 1806, the symphony is the beginner. And the concerto, which has probably by 50% less notes, but is by 10 minutes longer, you see the quiet space it needs, is the symphony without the symphonic ductus, but with a symphony with un primus inter pares, a first among equal rights. The orchestra is not just a carpet to walk on for a soloist, it's a partner which has same power and same, and that's of course a new level of symphonic composition. And a word about the soloist. He's very young. I know him since 5 or 6 years. He was really young then, and he won the Mozart competition in Salzburg. He knows Chloe Chua, because they both were in Geneva at the same competition in different age categories. And he comes from Tsingtao, from China. He was discovered by his later professor, Roczek from Salzburg, because somebody said, there's a boy, you have to listen to him. I think he was 12 or 13 at that time. And he traveled there, and he asked him, what do you play? Do you play Mozart? Yes. Sonata? Yes, I play. Do you play a concerto? Yes. Which one? And the boy said, which one do you want to hear?